Late at night, when the last echoes of footsteps faded and the building's glass windows reflected only the dim city glow, James quietly went about his work. The office, so full of noise and importance during the day, was now silent except for the gentle swish of his mop across the polished floor. He had done this for years, moving through the same hallways, dusting the same desks, and emptying the same bins, yet very few ever noticed him. To most, he was invisible, just another part of the night that kept the office clean for the morning rush. But James carried within him a quiet strength, a dignity that no uniform or mop bucket could hide. What people never knew was that he had once dreamed of being a teacher. Books and ideas had always fascinated him, and he longed to guide young minds, to encourage them to believe in themselves the way he once believed in his own future. But life had turned heavy, his father fell ill, his family needed help, and his dreams had to be set aside. He never complained, though. Instead, he found pride in providing, in showing up each night and giving his best, even when no one was watching. As the world outside hurried on, James hummed softly to himself, letting his quiet melodies fill the empty rooms. In those late hours, he wasn't just a man cleaning floors, he was a man holding on to hope, believing that his story wasn't finished yet. One evening, as the clock pushed past midnight, Emily sat at her desk surrounded by piles of files and glowing computer screens. She was the kind of woman who never seemed to stop, her life defined by deadlines, meetings, and the constant pressure to succeed. That night, however, fatigue pressed down on her more heavily than usual. She rubbed her temples, trying to focus, when a soft sound caught her attention, the steady rhythm of a mop gliding across the floor. For the first time, she noticed the man who worked quietly in the background, moving with careful precision as though every stroke mattered. James looked up, and their eyes met. For a brief moment, Emily felt a strange calm. He gave a polite nod and a warm but reserved smile before returning to his work. She realized she had seen him many times before, yet she had never truly seen him. Something about his presence was different from the faceless bustle of her workday. That evening, she decided not to ignore him. "Good evening," she said softly. James paused, slightly surprised, and returned the greeting with genuine kindness in his voice. That simple exchange broke the invisible wall between them. From then on, whenever Emily worked late, their small conversations grew, sometimes about the weather, sometimes about life. For Emily, who had built her world around ambition, it was unusual to find comfort in such simplicity. But somehow, James' quiet humility began to ease the loneliness she never admitted she felt. As the nights passed, Emily found herself looking forward to those brief conversations with James. What started as casual greetings slowly turned into deeper exchanges, and soon she began to learn pieces of his story. James never spoke with bitterness, but his words carried the weight of sacrifice. He told her how he once dreamed of becoming a teacher, how he wanted to stand before a classroom and inspire children to believe in themselves. His eyes lit up when he spoke about books, about the joy of learning, and about the power of encouragement. Yet, life had taken a different turn. His father's illness and his family's struggles demanded that he step into responsibility too soon. Teaching became a dream he set aside so his loved ones could survive. Emily listened with a quiet heart. She had always believed success meant climbing ladders, winning promotions, and proving herself in a competitive world. But hearing James' story made her pause. Here was a man who had lost so much, yet his spirit remained unbroken. He carried dignity in every word, hope in every smile, and a strength she found both humbling and inspiring. She realized that while she had gained wealth and recognition, she had forgotten the human side of life, the simple acts of kindness, the beauty of resilience, the courage of sacrifice. In James' humility, she saw something rare, a reminder that success was not only about reaching the top but also about the lives you touch along the way. One particular night, as the office lay wrapped in silence, Emily sat listening to James speak about the importance of giving people a chance. His words carried no resentment, only wisdom born of experience. He talked about how many talented souls went unnoticed because life had dealt them a difficult hand, and how sometimes all it took was someone willing to believe in them to change everything. Emily felt her throat tighten as his voice lingered in the room. She had spent so long focused on figures and profits that she had forgotten the true purpose of leadership, to uplift, not just to achieve. For a long moment she remained quiet, her mind racing. Then, almost hesitantly, she turned to James. Her voice softened as she asked, "Do you think we could start right here?" The words seemed to surprise even herself. James looked at her, unsure of what she meant, and she explained with growing conviction. What if they began something in the very place they stood, a program within the company to help people like him, those with potential but without opportunity, to find their path? James blinked, taken aback, his usually calm eyes now wide with emotion. He had never expected such a question, certainly not from someone like her. Yet in that moment, the distance between them vanished. Emily wasn't just an executive, and James wasn't just the janitor. They were two human beings standing at the edge of something new, hope being born in the most unexpected place. With Emily's determination in James' heart, the idea quickly turned into action. Together, they presented a proposal to the company, an initiative that would open doors for people who had been overlooked, offering training, mentorship, and opportunities to grow. At first, some doubted the plan, but Emily's conviction in James' sincerity won them over. Slowly, what began as a small effort blossomed into something far greater. James was no longer just the man cleaning the floors at night, he became a mentor, a guide, and a living example of resilience. Colleagues who once passed him without notice now sought his advice, listening to his wisdom with respect. For James, it felt like stepping back into the dream he once held, to teach, to inspire, to shape lives. He wasn't standing in a classroom, but in many ways, he was doing something even more powerful. He was showing people that greatness could rise from humility, that every person mattered, no matter their title or past. For Emily, the transformation was just as profound. She discovered that success wasn't about late nights and endless reports, it was about sparking light in others and creating change that lasted beyond profits. Months later, as James walked through the office, he no longer felt invisible. Smiles greeted him, voices welcomed him, and respect followed him everywhere he went. The man who once hummed quietly in the shadows was now a beacon of hope. And it all began with a single question, asked with courage and answered with kindness.